And then I said, don't sit on the table, and you just went down and sit on the table. Oh, anyway, welcome to Pins Over Alderaan. Now, this is going to be the show in which I showcase some of my favorite pins in my pin collection. So what are we talking about? We're talking about these little enamel pins that either are official Star Wars merchandise or they are independent creators have just made pins. So today's theme is Jedi, as this beanie says, and all of my special friends back here. Porgs are always on the table, it doesn't matter. This video is going to be a lot of just me showing off the pins and talking about different places I've purchased them. These are not all of the pins that I have. I just tried to pick my favorite ones and my favorite groupings and my favorite series, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let's get started with some of the first ones that I started getting. So, I mean, background with me in pin collecting, I started collecting the pins at Disney, you know, Disney trading pins, back in 2005 or something like that. One of the trips that I went down there, I just started collecting them and I found out you can trade with the cast members, and I'm like, whoa, okay, we gotta really get going. So that's when I started collecting pins, and it really just kind of exploded from there, of just getting pins everywhere, related to whatever my current interests were at the time. And then Star Wars pins really just exploded because, you know, it went back to Disney and then they started having Star Wars pins, and I'm like, this is becoming a thing. So let me start with one of the first independent vendor Star Wars pins that I started getting. So I started getting pins from BB Create. So they are a maker based out of California, I believe in the LA area, I would assume. And this was one of the first ones that I got, actually. So it is a Luke Skywalker lightsaber hilt with blue tulips coming out of the top, and it really sparks a huge line of theirs in which they have different lightsaber hilts and blasters also, with flowers coming out of the end of the barrel or out of the top of the lightsaber where the blade would usually be. And it's become one of my favorite series of pins, and I have a lot of them, but I just definitely had to showcase the first one that I got from them. And then also I wanted to showcase this one, which is Ben Solo's Forget-Me-Nots and Kylo Lily. So even though Kylo's not a Jedi, but Ben Solo is, so I wanted to show that they did two pins. I got the Kylo one first, and then I believe I missed the initial run for the Forget-Me-Nots, and so this was a re-release of it, and I absolutely love these two. And so I had to share those ones as well. They don't just do the lightsaber bouquets though, they also do a few cool ones as well. One of my other all-time favorite pins that I've received from them, and also just all-time favorites in general, this one is actually always on my vest or whatever jacket I'm wearing when I go somewhere. It's this rank badge that you would see from a Sons of Anarchy type thing of just the typical biker gang text, but I absolutely love it. And so Jedi Knight is my favorite one. I have a handful of these ones as well, but this is the one that actually makes the most sense for today, and so I wear a Jedi Knight a lot. And then last pin from them that I actually want to showcase is this one that they released right after The Rise of Skywalker came out. So they call this one, I believe, a sibling bond, and so it's Rey doing, you know, I'm all the Jedi with Leia's lightsaber hilt and the Skywalker Legacy lightsaber hilt. It's just something that I absolutely it's incredible. So yeah, the pins from BB Create, they're one that I always am looking into whatever their new releases are and seeing what's next from them. They do a lot of Star Wars stuff, they do a lot of not Star Wars stuff as well. They do a lot of sports mashups, which is really cool to see. Still waiting for them to do a Boston one. Like I said, they're based in LA, so pretty much every LA sports team they've done, but you know, we can dream, we can hope. Next one I'd like to showcase. So for me, with pins, there's a few things that I will jump for immediately. If it is Rey related, I usually always jump for it. Depending on also if it's her lightsaber, I will 100% jump for it, because that's something that you don't really see as often, is because it's usually just her with the regular blue lightsaber, but I crave that yellow lightsaber. I love that one. So a couple shops have produced things for it so far, and these are a few of my favorite ones, and so I'll start with this one. So this is a collection from Project Lunar Rock, and they do lightsaber hilts primarily, but they also do blasters and a few other funny things as well. They do little candy hearts with names in them, and they're pretty cute. But I jump for the lightsabers. I jump for joy for these lightsabers because it has the lightsaber with a flower. So we have two things that I absolutely love. And then plus, it's the name written in Aurebesh, so we have 3 things that I absolutely love. So this is the Rey Skywalker one, which is adorable. I love it so much. And then I'll share also the Ahsoka one. So this is the Rebels Ahsoka. I believe that they've done other ones as well. I mean, her Clone Wars ones. But I just have the Rebels one, which I think is absolutely adorable. Just to showcase, obviously, the 2 lightsaber hilts that style that they do. Another one, we have to share my favorite man, Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight. I have, like I said, I'm just scratching the surface with like some of the ones that I have here. And since I shared Kanan, and this is technically, you know, the Mandalore was a Jedi at one point, right? Mandalore the Great. So I have to share the Darksaber one, because this one's really, really special because they actually use Mando'a instead of Aurebesh for the writing, which is really cool to see. So we have a few more, right? Let's jump into Punch It Chewie Press. This is another one that I get a lot of pins from. So here are a couple Jedi that I have ordered from them. They have a long series of just like character portraits, and so we have Ahsoka from season 7, and then we have Katarn. They did a full line of Legends video game characters. I had to get the Katarn because earlier this year a friend of ours was cosplaying Katarn, and I fell into like just like the researching about like who he was, and I'm like, this is just like so funny. Just a man with a bunch of questions and a lightsaber and a bread roll for his shoulder pad. So the moment I saw that they made a pin of him, I'm just like, that's going in the cart. And then what else? From Punch It Chewie Press, I also have these cool Kyber Crystals. So I have a few more of these, but these are my 2 favorite ones. So we have like the Ahsoka with the quote over it, "I am no Jedi," and then of course the Mace Windu, "Take a seat, young Skywalker." Like, so good. These are actually sold as a blind bag type thing, so you receive 2 of them, but you didn't know which 2 you were going to receive. So sometimes with like these like pins, a lot of them will do blind bag type situations in which you don't know what you're purchasing, and you just get what you get. And in that case, a lot of trading takes place amongst other like fans who purchase them, which is really cool because then you can engage with other people in this pin community, Star Wars pin community. So the next 2 might be 2 of my like favorite shops, like in general. So we'll start with this one. So we'll start with Laserbrain Patch Co. / Lapels Spells. They use both monikers there. So they actually have this really cool thing that's a Star Wars Pin of the Month club. So most of these pins actually, I believe, were through that Pin of the Month club. There's only one in here that I ordered like separately, like from them. But I have like, again, other pins from them. So here's a few cool ones. So their owner and designer, she's a trained like tattoo artist, and so she makes like really cool like designs like that. So a lot of their pins are very like full of art like this. So we have like this like Luke one, "I Won't Fail You," which is really cool. Like I have a lot of these really, really like picturesque like pins from them, and it's like, whoa, this is like incredible. And then I have this super corny like Jedi Knight one. I just love it. It's so 70s, and it's just perfect. That's another one that I like wear a lot, not at the same time as like the name badge, because you don't want Jedi Knight. Just make myself think about Kanan and cry. But anyway, speaking of Kanan, this is one that I absolutely love. I was debating whether or not to share it in this episode, but I definitely will because you can't beat Kanan and Hera, and I just absolutely love this one. This was one that was one of the mystery ones, which I absolutely adore. So it just says Rey Skywalker, and it has Luke and Leia as Force Ghost, and they also tucked in Ben, which is a good little addition. We won't talk about Ben Solo theories today, though. I love this pen. Again, Rey with the yellow lightsaber, sold. So my last pin maker that I want to talk about is lantern pins. I absolutely adore lantern pins. This is another one that I started Star Wars pins from the very beginning, and I believe this was one of the early ones that I purchased from her. So it is Ahsoka Tano's head tails and Montrails, but it's just so good. I love it so much. She has this entire line that is called Hair-oines, and so it's the hairstyles of different Star Wars characters. Most of them are like Padme headdresses or like Princess Leia buns and like the Rey buns, but I had to showcase at least Ahsoka, and I had to showcase Aayla Secura because this is one of my favorites that I actually wear a lot because it's pretty unique to like see something about her in the first place. I mean, like, I got like Ahsoka and Aayla just like chilling back here, so love it. And then another thing that I love from Lantern Pins is they also have this line that is love at, and then they do like different terms for it. So they're these little hearts with the lightsabers again, and I just absolutely love them. So I have like the Rey one, immediate purchase, and then this one was really cool. So this is Princess Leia's, or Leia Organa's lightsaber. I got the glare just right. Yeah, there it is. And then we also have Snip's Love, which is Ahsoka's two lightsabers, so the early Clone Wars version of the lightsabers. And so, again, this is another series that I have a lot of, and I couldn't share all of them because we would have been here forever. So, we are honestly barely scratching the surface here. This is just Jedi pins, and even at that, it's just like a very small selection of Jedi pins. For like a solid moment, I was like, well, should I do like lightsaber pins and then Jedi pins? But then I was like, no, we do have a fair share of like dark side lightsabers, so can't share all of those. We did sneak a couple in with the Darksaber and then Kylo Ren, but it's okay. I'll be linking all of these pin makers as well in the description below, so be sure to check them out. At this point, a lot of the pins that I showed off in this video are probably sold out, but that being said, a lot of these pin makers will do re-releases of really popular pins. One thing additionally as well, every single one of these pins, I pretty much found out through social media. A few of them were word of mouth of friends being like, hey, recommending like different pins, or like I saw someone with it and I'm like, oh, where did you get that? But most of them were through social media, so if you're ever in the mood to start pin collecting, just search for Star Wars pins and you will fall into a deep space maelstrom and never come out. Welcome to pin collecting.